Hello everyone. Welcome back to another video where I'm sharing about building high five ventures and just life as a whole right now. I feel like now is one of the most pivotal times in my life. It's exciting. It's really, really cool. I feel like I'm shifting into a completely new chapter where I'm able to fully harness what I'm capable of in so many different ways. But the season of life that is really being emphasized right now is business. And I'm so excited to, like I said in the previous video, bring you all along with everything we're doing and just share just openly about how I'm feeling, about the trials, tribulations going on, the 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, whatever it may be when it comes to building the businesses we're building. And I thought this would be a good time at the very beginning of all this starting to share why we're really doing this and what has given us these ideas, what's made us believe this is the right step at this moment, and everything in between. So I think it's best to start a few years ago, I'd say. Actually, this goes back pretty far. I think ever since I was 15, 16, something like that. So this is a decade ago. I knew that my life would be filled with self-improvement. It became very clear that I really, really enjoy doing the things and becoming the person that makes me feel better, right? And not only does that mean the external material success, but also just the inner work of how can I just be calm, be restful, be balanced, be happy and fulfilled in life. And the way my mind works is I kind of distilled it down to a science. And I knew that as I make leaps and strides in my own journey, that part of what I'm here to do is make the path super simple and as quick and easy as possible for everyone else that's interested in the same things I am. So yeah, I always knew that personal development would be a huge part of my life. It started with reading a handful of different books. Of course, there was a business one like Rich Dad Poor Dad. And there was a few other ones like the Happiness Equation and stuff like that. Some were business focused, some were more happiness focused, fulfillment focused, health focused. It's funny how those two oftentimes intertwine. The more and more I feel into it, the more I realize like business is just a reflection of self-improvement for the most part. At least the business I'm in. So immensely grateful to understand that this is what I'm really here to do. And it's really, thankfully, the past handful of years made life a lot more simple to know this is my field, this is what I'm doing, which is definitely a hard conclusion to come to when you're in your early to mid 20s. But I just had to be real with myself and realize there's nothing in this world that lights me up more than learning, than helping people alleviate their own suffering, guide them towards being happier, healthier, and wealthier. And even that phrase was something that's been in my life for like years to come. But one thing that really stood out to me was from college time in particular, because at that time I feel like I was deeply into business, even more than personal development. I thought getting a business degree would be best. And of the business degrees possible out there, I didn't want to do accounting. That was too much for nerds. I didn't want to do marketing. It was too much for people that didn't really, understand business, whatever it was at that time, at least I believed. And so I decided to do finance. But then taking so many finance classes and also working at internships and other positions that showed me what it would be like to be a financial advisor, that showed me what it would be like to live in this world, I realized it sucks. It's just Microsoft Excel and selling people to get the sales up for that month, and then they're kind of mean nothing to you oftentimes. You just roll on to the next one, next call, whatever it may be. Yeah, it was just something about the finance industry in particular didn't sit right with me. And it just made it very clear, like, who's actually making all the money here isn't the people we're trying to help. It's the corporation selling them whatever product or service that they're buying that's really making all the money and making all the difference in their lives. And also the whole US dollar being printed and all that, how it's just kind of a tool to keep people down. That just became very emphasized and very alive in my mind for quite a while. And it got to the point where I just couldn't continue down that path, which is a definitely unique struggle for me because when society's telling you there's one way to do things, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, I'll do it. And then you get all these feelings and experiences. You're like, this doesn't feel right to me. This isn't right. This isn't, I want to live my life. I'm gonna do this until I'm 65 and then I get a 401k and then retire and then I can have a nice car and a boat. Like, what? No, none of that makes any sense to me. Um, Even if I could make a lot of money, I'm like, where's the soul in this work? Where's the love in this work? And it was very hard for me to realize that I could do anything besides that when my entire life at that point was just in the weeds of the finance world and the sales part of that. And then thankfully, I think life just kind of gives you the twists and turns and sometimes a slap in the face to kind of put you back on track for what you're really here to do. And I think a huge part of that was me really having a gut reaction. And many of you who have been following my content for a while knew that right after college, I just sold everything, quit everything, moved to Bali, which was a big, big decision and the best decision of my life by far when it comes to open my mind and heart up to my eyes, up to everything life has to offer. And also made me very clear on exactly what it is I want to do with my life. And so it started with just helping people that were friends that I met or people that I met at the gym or the coffee shop, whatever it is. Oftentimes, for some reason, again, this has been happening my whole life. People just come to me for questions to receive answers on certain guidance. And it's always something personal. It's always something, oftentimes, relationships, either relationships with themselves or relationship with others. And my entire life, I've just been an old soul. And of course, recently I've found some more spiritual gifts that I have that I wasn't aware of prior to that. It definitely fits in the equation. But overall, it still falls under the umbrella of personal development. And then just naturally, when it felt right to take over the men's circles that I hosted through Bali and seeing the amazing difference we can make on people's lives, and we just give them the space to share what it is that is coming up for them and what's going on in their life that either is or isn't working for them. And then having a few of them become clients and seeing just a dramatic shift in all the metrics, whether it's the external metrics of how much they make, their happiness levels, whatever it is, or just the internal metrics of how much peace do they feel on a daily basis? How present are they? I realized like, okay, this is what I'm here to do. And I'm here to do this at a very large scale where I can impact millions of people. And that's always been clear to me. I always knew that I'll be doing something big, right? And so what made finance in the beginning so hard to believe was that, okay, if I'm going to do something big in finance, that means, run a hedge fund, do, broker big deals for banking, whatever it may be. And that just felt gross to me. It felt a little icky. And especially seeing what goes beyond, what happens behind closed doors, excuse me. I realized I don't want to be part of that at all. And so I always knew to do something big. And this really does feel like the way I'm going to do it. It's through personal development. It's through inner work. It's through this perfect blend of practical personal development with esoteric principles and spirituality. And just everything necessary to help people level up their life to what I would call take back a hold of the video game controller and live life by their design and live life in a way that feels fun, that feels challenging when it's meant to be and easy when it's meant to be, and optimizing it for presence, optimizing it for love, and optimizing it for experiences they enjoy. And so once I learned that that's definitely what I want to do, and had the certain clients reiterate to me, like, this is what you're meant to do. You're going to do this big. You're going to be big one day, whatever it is. It just made very clear that, okay, it's time. And there's so much things that go behind the scenes of what's stopping us from actually becoming who we're capable of. And it's a lot of, honestly, emotional readiness that stops us from getting to the next level. Even if we understand logistically what it would take to impact, say, 1 billion people, and maybe others have done in the past, it takes becoming the person capable of doing that. That is something that no one talks about, but is the barrier to that level of impact and success. And now it just feels like, especially when it comes to the inner work necessary to step into that true main character role, that true philanthropist, that true large business person, whatever it may be, it takes a level of discipline, takes a level of confidence. It takes a complete shedding of fear. It takes an immense amount of faith, trust, and love and knowing to make this all happen. And I feel like life has presented me with the people, the environment, the opportunities, the everything necessary to build me up before this season, the season we're entering right now. And the season may be the case for a very long time, but I'm entering a season where it's go time. It's go time. And what I mean by this is expanding what I do in the camera so that it is optimized for people from all different backgrounds, all different experience levels, all different ages, all different beliefs to learn something, to feel connected to the person on the side of the screen and in real life for our IRL events, and to just have sprinkled a little bit of love in their life, a little bit of light in their life. And if that's done for millions of people on a societal level, that will shift what I now know to understand is the collective consciousness. It will rise it to the point where we will literally see a better world, one with less crime, less violence, and more community, more collaboration, more love and light. So I say all this because I want to share today that the biggest thing that's driving all of this is something that is hard to put into words. But ever since living in Bali, and especially over the past handful of months, and I'll give you a story in a second, but it doesn't feel like it's me creating it all. So let me give you an example. So I was very fortunate to host a retreat this past November with my good friend Jack Moses, and it went incredibly well. Made a huge impact on a lot of them in there. Shared a lot of stories. Just had a lot of fun. A lot of them just had the conversations with themselves that they've been avoiding for so long. It led to just radical realizations, transformations. It was something amazing. So that was incredible. Then I come home that night and just an incredible day. I made sure I wanted some pizza. I wanted to take some cannabis and just enjoy the night with Elle, who at this time, this date, would have been the furthest amount of time I've gone, the longest amount of time I've gone without seeing her ever since we met, which was like 4 days at a time because the length of my retreat. Excited to see her again, just excited to relax. I also had a lot of laundry to do. So I'm in the laundry room. Already had taken the cannabis drink, which always kind of opens up my connection to that of which is beyond the five senses. I was folding some laundry, and Elle was just talking to me about how her weekend was. And then I had to be like, Elle, stop. Grab your phone and start recording me. And so she does that. She's like, oh, okay. So she does it. And then I begin to keep full my laundry. And again, I'm pretty, I don't want to use certain words on these platforms, but the medicine, if you want to call it that I was taking was activated at that point, if you want to call it that. So I was tapped in, to say the least. And this is something I partake in, relatively often. And it's made huge impacts on me spiritually. But so I was on this medicine, and I begin to not necessarily brainstorm, but I'm going to introduce this word to you guys, many of you for the first time, it's called channeling. Where just how we have a YouTube channel, a TV channel, there is a source of some sort channeling information through it to you, right? And I deeply believe, this is my personal belief, that I've learned from experience, what feels intuitively correct for me, read books about, that many others for a very long time have talked about. And this idea of this kind of cloud that exists above all of us. Just like our Apple phones and Microsoft have these clouds that we store data on, I believe there is a collective cloud above all of us that Carl Jung calls the collective unconscious. And this cloud is the home of all creativity. And when we are in a flow state, whatever we're doing, whether it's writing or painting or singing or playing basketball for some, whatever it may be, we are tapping into the cloud of infinite expression, of infinite creativity, and we are channeling or downloading information, data from that cloud onto our hardware devices here, our server, which is the mind. And sometimes we can have experiences where we're much more connected to that cloud than other times, right? It's hard for me to be connected to the cloud if I'm, frantically, driving in traffic on the way to work, whatever it may be. But it's a lot easier when I'm, especially on some type of medicine that was intended to help you, connect, or if I'm just in flow state, if I'm at my computer writing, or for me, like I said, playing basketball, sometimes going for a long walk, especially in nature, running, whatever it may be. When your mind is kind of at ease, it opens up the gates, sometimes the floodgates, to information that is meant to be received by you at that time. And this happens all the time, and this information isn't exclusive to one person, to my knowledge. This is why if you've ever had an idea for an invention, and then let's say a few months or a few years later, you're watching TV and you see a commercial for that invention, you're like, whoa, I thought of that. Whoa, what happened? Or I remember the story of Eat, Pray, Love, where that woman who got divorced and went to Italy, India, and Bali to just have a complete kind of life reset. She wrote a book about it, which made her very famous, and then had a movie. But at so many of her book signings, people would come up and be like, I don't think you understand. Like, I literally had this exact same idea years ago, and I just didn't act on it. So I'm saying this because this cloud, to my knowledge, to my experience, is accessible to anyone and everyone. And those that are ready in the development of their life, in their consciousness level, their awareness level, can receive those downloads that they can utilize in whatever way feels right to them. For some singers and artists, that's create a song and make it beautiful. Another example of that would be Michael Jackson always made sure that he was, I forgot how many miles away, like it was something very small, like 5-10 miles, whatever it is, from a music studio, because if he ever got the download, the inspiration, channeled information to him, data for a new song, he wanted to be able to record it as fast as he can before Prince would, because he knew they were tapped into the same type of channel of collective cloud sharing, if you want to call it that. And so this has been a phenomenon that oftentimes isn't talked about in the mainstream, but is very much true. Every monk, every shaman, every creative that feels more tapped into what they're doing, they'll tell you about this. And for me, it's been, the greatest gift in my life to understand this and begin to embrace it and live my life in a way that I can have many of these experiences kind of whenever I'd so please, which makes life just amazing. Because also in that flow state, you are not deeply connected or entrenched in your current thoughts in your mind. So that also relieves you of so much of your own pain and suffering, because you don't have any anxiety, you don't have an depression, you're just in flow, you're in flow state. So it's a beautiful place to be, and it's what takes place when someone is fully present. So all that being said, I'm folding my laundry, and Elle just got her phone to record. And then I begin to channel for about 4 hours straight. And again, I'm not a huge talker. I just hosted a retreat where I was yelling a lot. I was speaking a lot. I just wanted to relax, but this just came through. The energy was there. I was wide awake for some reason, and it just came through for 4 hours. And it channeled a company, a business model that I've taken as one of the first businesses I'm meant to create that is going to set Elle and I and everything we build on a trajectory to impact in millions, if not billions of people throughout a lifetime. And so this, I don't know if this idea is unique to me, but it's an idea that's coming from God. It'd be very hard for an atheist to believe in this collective cloud because it's so incredible. It's so non-material that it wouldn't really be possible to have if there's no such thing as a higher power, right? So I'm just speaking from personal experience, whether it's God, source, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I oftentimes choose God or source, call it that. I've been chosen, I don't believe I'm the only one, but I've been chosen to receive certain information and then to act on it. And there's no problem if I don't act on it. That's all right. It's like a raindrop that just came from the cloud. If you don't, utilize it and store it as rainwater to, feed your family or, help you hydrate yourself after a long run, it's all right if you don't utilize the download to the utmost ability. If it just falls right to the ground, if it just goes right through, like, that's okay too. But there are certain ones that you're like, oh my gosh, okay, this is too perfect. This is too good. This aligns too much with what I know I'm here to do. This is too right. It feels so right. I got to act on it. So I've been receiving a sequence of downloads for the past handful of months, ever since November, that, oh man, I wouldn't be surprised if material-wise impacts potentially 1 billion people. And I say that with the utmost level of the best of my ability, humbleness and groundedness. But what I've been shown of what is possible, if I believe it is possible and I keep that belief incredibly firm, that I would not have been given this download if it wasn't meant to manifest in this reality. And if I don't allow fear into who am I to believe this is possible, there's a lot of competition. If I don't give into those thoughts and I just perform, these things will happen. And so basically, that is what Hive Vibe Ventures is. It will evolve into, just right now, it's just 1 or 2 LLCs, but it'll evolve into a holding company that oversees probably dozens of different businesses as more downloads come, that are all things that are around self-improvement, that are around revolutionizing human connection. And the first huge one that will really set the tone for my future, Elle's future, everything we're doing, like, it's going to set the tone for a lot. And a lot of people will not only create something like this, but the business model around this will be, I think, distributed as the new way of doing business going forward. Which I know is some pretty big claims, but I feel it, and I feel it deeply, and only time will tell. But with these ideas, again, like, this is not something I just created on a whiteboard. I didn't strategize and look at the product market fit, all this. It's like, no, just create it. And I have been amazed. Like, every day feels like a miracle. The amount of people resources, opportunities that come my way every time I take a step toward the right direction of making these businesses come to light. Like very wealthy people, very powerful people are feeling intuitively drawn. They don't know why. They don't even know me. But find their way into my life and they're like, hey, man, whatever you need, I got you. These are people that I've done nothing for. Some of them. Many of them. Most of them. But for some reason, they feel just intuitively drawn to be in my life and to help me on this mission, help me on this path. Because they are also given, well, if it's not the business idea, they're given the download, the thought to search me up online or to, they met me a few years ago to hit me up again and see how they can help. Whatever it is, they are feeling too drawn to help this thing because this thing isn't by me. It's not happening to me or from me. It's being created through me. And I know this to be true because everything that I download, without a doubt, with every ounce of my being, knows that it is making the world a better place. It is expanding the level of the collective consciousness to the point where more people will have a default level of happiness. All of them are here to guide people towards enlightenment. All of them. And I'm not saying even that I'm there yet, because I don't believe I am. Honestly, I'm not that far. But I still have quite a ways to go. But the far, far, far majority of people in the world are just a few steps behind me. And all I'm here to do is guide them a few more steps where I'm at. Leading from the front. In a modern way. And my way to do that may not be to have a monastery and to meditate in a mountain for, 30 days straight and then reach some peak of enlightenment and whatever. No, it feels like there is a new wave of people that are being divinely guided to create real world businesses, content, charities, communities, everything in all different industries to reinvent it all, to make sure that it's pure, to make sure it's lighthearted, to make sure that it actually benefits everyone involved. Because not only have I gotten incredible insights and downloads that I've never heard of before upon how to build an ecosystem of businesses that all feed off of each other, that have quite a few incredible, incredible offers that provide the resources necessary to disperse more and more of the high vibrational content like a vessel, like a megaphone to the entire world in a way where all the conduits of these creations, including myself being one of the leaders of them, will be taken care of immensely. All their wants and needs, all their material, third dimensional needs will just be taken care of. As long as I embody that I am just a conduit, I am just the pen to the paper, where someone or something else is creating this and utilizing me as an instrument, as a tool, as a vessel to make these, at this point in my life, businesses happen. And these businesses will revolutionize how communities are ran, in person and online, how we bring people together. It'll revolutionize even just the basics of communication and connection to make sure despite us all come from different backgrounds, and especially after world events recently, we're all pent up in houses, that we're all just get this baseline level of how we can connect to each other in a way that feels authentic, in a way that feels loving, in a way that feels safe and enjoyable. And then also a complete different realm of romantic life and reinventing how we look at the man and the woman relationship, the masculine and feminine relationship, where both are immensely powerful. Both are separate, both are different, but they're equal and they're just as important as the other. And these ways of living that it takes to embody the curriculum that we one day teach has been my life journey of the past 25 years, but in particular the past 36 months, the past year, especially with Elle, skyrocketed. What feels like we downloaded the codes, the data to begin to not only talk that talk, but walk that walk, if you know what I mean. Like in all aspects, like making sure that we really have such a great foundation for ourselves of happiness and fulfillment, just a level of presence and peace throughout the day, a level of health, and also a level of wealth that will inspire everyone to live in a state of abundance, because that is immensely possible. And honestly, the only way we move going forward as a society. And so I was about to go on to a different tangent about the illusion of scarcity and how so much this world is abundant, but we've gone in a direction that hasn't made it seem as if it is. But that's the story for another time. Back onto the business ecosystem. There are going to be so many different businesses that we're naturally just attracting the right employees, team members to work with us. We're naturally, oftentimes it feels like not even trying, the right clients, the right community members that will make this grow, because they are themselves feeling intuitively drawn to show up to a certain place at a certain time, to DM me randomly from the side of the world, we're just attracting them like a magnet. Like the people that are meant to be part of this mission are just coming so effortlessly. We don't have to sell. We don't have to do anything that would be convincing someone to be a client or to work with us. Like, it's just, they feel it within. And that feels quite awesome. Quite awesome to have been, I think, one of the many people, one of the many leaders of a new generation of building, of creating, one that is a strong net positive for humanity, along with the environment and everything else in between. And I use this word in a very pure sense because I know this word has been abused to some extent, but truly prioritizing the stakeholders over the shareholders and reinventing how profit sharing takes place in a business, reinventing how the decisions of what's best for the company is being made, everything. And one of the first of a plethora of businesses that we'll be doing is a legit media company. I'm talking half a dozen, probably in the beginning part, podcasts that are all very professional, that are all setting the tone for empowering people with the knowledge, the fun stories, and everything between that makes them feel better, that makes them enjoy this life on the floating rock more, and to make them feel more equipped for all that comes with the human experience. So this media company is going to have plenty of podcasts, plenty of time of just Elle and I live streaming to the world on certain topics. Sometimes it's about romantic love, sometimes it's about business, sometimes about life experiences we're having, and everything in between. We're going to be interviewing a plethora of different guests from around the world on many different topics. Whatever piques our interest, we know is piquing our interest for a reason. And the everyone else who's listening will probably resonate in some way. So there's a lot going on there. And then the right offers that will then fund that to make that happen to the level of what you want it to happen. Right people that are meant to work with us will just naturally. It all honestly feels like this poetic story taking place. And it's very, very special. It feels so special. And just, I'm glad that I'm a conduit to make this happen. This otherworldly connection feels. So, yeah, a different video. I'm going to go a deep dive into exactly what this business looks like, how to be running, what we'll be offering. Now we plan on just flipping the entire business world on its head to make sure that it's human first, as opposed to the bottom line first. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to be excited about, a lot that's growing right now. We see them on camera like this a lot more, just to give more updates on everything taking place. Life is just becoming more and more every day like this beautiful creation, this beautiful experience that we're all just so fortunate to be a part of. And the more, this is a big thing, my own personal selfish needs, the more I do the things that I download that are channeled through me, the more I do those things, the happier I feel. It literally feels like I'm on a mission. And if I don't adhere to that mission, if I take the next 10 years off and just travel the world, that's probably someone's highest good. I've learned it's not my highest good. My highest good, my happiness levels, my fulfillment levels come down to one thing. Am I being a good conduit for what is coming through me? What I have been chosen to create and to build. And so selfishly and selflessly, we're going to be building something very big and something that is going to change the world. I genuinely believe that. And so it's going to be an amazing, amazing next handful of months, years, decades. I'm so glad to have you all here with me. Love y'all. See you soon.